What I found most charming about this movie is, though, it's the perfect amount of cheese. Like, the characters are stupid, but they're likable enough. Like, you feel like you're watching. I mean, you're rooting for the Karate Kid, essentially. It is just a Karate Kid ripoff. I don't know how else to say it, but it's just the absolute cheesy version of it.
Drive-by movies here. You're watching Direct to Dumpster. My name's Blaise.
I'm James.
This week, we're talking about 1993's
Showdown.
This is starring Billy Blanks, Ken Scott, and Christine Taylor. This is an interesting movie. It is from 1993.
It felt very 80s, though. Yeah.
It's definitely the tail end of the 80s. It's channeling that Karate Kid, but this is like the MMA Kid.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
They're not fighting in an octagon, but they are fighting in, I don't know what that was.
They say it's a dojo, but it's just a warehouse with a weird
this concrete floor.
Ring. Yeah.
And I know people got hurt when they kept getting flipped.
Oh, yeah.
Because like, I swear Ken Scott almost like hits his head on the concrete like multiple times.
Right.
And maybe that's why we haven't seen him since.
You called it out a couple times.
Yeah, maybe that's why we haven't seen him since. It was a little cringy seeing that. But anyways, this is, a film that's trying to kind of be that Karate Kid. They definitely fail on almost all cylinders, and that's what makes it a must watch, must see, a direct to dumpster classic film, because this is Billy Blanks. If you don't know who Billy Blanks is, he is the innovator, the genius, the entrepreneur behind Taebo.
Hi, I'm Billy Blanks, coming to you with your first Taebo workout. You remember that basic workout we gave you? Gave you all the basic fundamentals. I want to make sure you've been through that first workout.
If you don't know what Taebo is, I will keep you up to date right now with all this footage. Hopefully, it is a innovative fighting, boxing, taekwondo style hybrid system to keep you in shape. So Billy Blanks plays the character of Billy, who is essentially this Mr. Miyagi type of guy. The film opens up with Billy busting, basically with his right hand man. It's like they're two buddy cops. They bust this high school party.
Believe that.
Well, he gets attacked, so it was definitely self-defense. I don't know why this kid went up against a cop and stole his gun. But yeah, I think it was just a punch or an elbow or something. Just, fell right into the stairs.
He pulls a Bad Ronald, throws a kid right into some
exactly what I was thinking. Bad Ronald.
Throws a kid into the stairs, and the kid accidentally dies. Everyone understands that, it wasn't Billy's fault. It was in self-defense.
Yeah.
But Billy's going to have to lose his badge. He's going to have to resort to a life of being a janitor and kind of, they say it a little bit, but he's definitely going to be a failure for a while.
Yeah.
Like, they kind of get into it. But I think the thing to kind of point out the most that makes this film pretty epic is the fact that we're talking about, okay, they busted a high school party full of a bunch of kids. There's no kids in this film whatsoever. Yeah. The high schoolers are all like, middle-aged adults.
They're older than us, and we're both. Yeah.
All right, that's confidential information.
We
can't be floating that out there.
Sorry about the bleep. Yeah.
So all the adults in this film are playing high schoolers, but they kind of try and age them down.
Yeah.
Ken Scott is a ripped child,
right?
But they definitely try and play that down. There's only like later in the film, he takes his shirt off, and you're just like, whoa,
it's
dude's
in the
like
final 10 minutes, and we're just like, oh wow, he's been hiding that whole time.
He's like a 5'4" bodybuilder. It's just like a super buff little kid supposedly, but. This is just one of those films that I felt like was perfectly made for direct to dumpster on Amazon Video. It says that it's made in 2019, and that was the first like sign of like what's going on here. There's no way this film's from 2019. It took forever to find on IMDb, and find that it's basically from 1993. I had to search Billy Blanks to actually find the film.
Right. And we were also dying laughing because the hair looks very like 80s, or well, actually it looks 90s-esque now that I think about it. But we're also just cracking up that like they look like 30-year-olds on the cover of the movie, or 40-year-olds. And we're like, wait, a high school guy is getting bullied and he gets trained by his janitor? We're like, what the hell kind of movie is this and stuff?
It's 100% just the Karate Kid ripoff. I think they had very great aspirations for what they wanted this movie to be in the dawn of MMA at the current time.
Right.
But also, you know, you got the fighting in Karate Kid is a little ridiculous. The swan kick, is that really going to throw anyone off? Come on, be real here. But when you got gloves on and you're just throwing roundhouse kicks left and right this side of Roadhouse, like, it's just this movie, the fighting... They really honestly should have named this. It's called Showdown, but it really should have been called Nut Punch, because the amount of like cheap shots, or cheap shot would have been a good title for this movie. The amount of cheap shots in this film and nut punches and kick in the nuts was insane.
Anybody else want a piece of me? Huh?
One thing I want to bring up that you brought up, Christine Taylor. She just showed up out of nowhere, and I thought like, oh, Christine Taylor happened to be in the background, but no, she's actually one of the main pivotal roles of the movie. She's the only recognizable face. I mean, you called out, of course, Billy Banks, but I wasn't familiar with his work. But thank you so much for those kind clips that you provided us at Direct to Dumpster. Yeah.
What can I say? Doing the Lord's work here. I mean, Billy Blanks is a complete and total badass. Like 100%. We all know it. Taebo never really tested his skills as a martial artist, but I'm glad that Showdown exists, because now I know. Like I always saw him just like helping people lose weight in Taebo. I remember even like in middle school PE one day, like it was raining, so we like had to like chill inside in the gymnasium, and the teacher put on, like, sometimes teacher would put on like movies and stuff, but they just put on a Taebo tape and told us to just crack at it, just go to it, and give it a try. And like, it wasn't at all difficult, and it was fun. So
it's a weird class, as a version of gym. I never had that, but interesting. Yeah. What I found most charming about this movie is, though, it's the perfect amount of cheese. Like, the characters are stupid, but they're likable enough. Like, you feel like you're watching... I mean, you're rooting for the Karate Kid, essentially. It is just a Karate Kid ripoff. I don't know how else to say it, but it's just the absolute cheesy version of it. It definitely doesn't have anything rated R-esque, but just like how crazy the characters are and how animated the villain is in this movie. He's just so sinister. He just keeps saying, kill him, finish him, and stuff. And
it's turning the Karate Kid up to 11. Like, this is the Karate Man.
Yeah.
the Karate Man child or something. Because everything about this movie, instead of just sweep the leg, like you said, it's kill him.
Yeah.
Like, as if this guy's just about to get a straight up homicide charge for the sake of it, and his life be over. But I mean, talking about lives being over, Billy Blanks as this janitor who's had to surrender his badge. In the end, he has to ward off this MMA style fighter, the Cobra Kai leader,
who's got a ginormous scar on his face. What is up with that?
It's just scars make everyone more savage. Just like, oh, you seem like way more of a villain if you have a scar. You know. I mean, look at Scar, the villain of Lion King.
Right, good point.
Why do you think he's named that? Isn't the scar on his face?
Yeah.
But yeah, when it just comes to it, this movie, it's a lot of fun. It is super cheese. There's nothing about it that's not cheesy. I don't think they tried to shy away and make it like a very serious story. But I have to say, one of the best things is the fight choreography. I don't feel like, honestly, the fight choreography in Karate Kid is something that's that enjoyable.
Right.
The fight choreography in this movie is actually there. Everyone can perform a high kick. It doesn't seem like it's pushing them to the limit. The only thing is just the cheap shots.
Yeah.
Is the cheesiest thing in this movie, and that actually makes it more enjoyable because you're just like, all right, there's going to be a cheap shot every regular punch, you know?
And actually, I gotta admit, even though everyone in this school is 30 years old, like it's really cool to see how diverse this school was. It actually felt like my real high school. I mean, no, people in my high school didn't carry guns and shit. That was a little like weird that like the punker kids are just carrying guns, but just like it just actually felt like a diverse school that felt real and didn't feel fake, like Clueless or something like that. I mean, as entertaining as Clueless or Mean Girls or like any of those movies are, they don't feel like an actual high school.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So when it comes to Showdown, I definitely recommend that you check out this late 80s, early 90s cheese. It definitely sways more into the 80s. Like it did come out in 93, but I think even they were like trying to cut down on the amount of 90s stuff allowed on set. Like, no, we're going for the 80s vibe here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, highly recommend. This is a movie that I've never heard of. Glad that we found it on Amazon Prime. This is a gem that needs to be remembered. It needs to be kept on like YouTube. Red, please pick this up and turn this into a series. I want to see what's going to happen. I want to see our lead character become the new sensei in a sequel series on YouTube Red.
Final Showdown.
Yeah.
Good job. Keep it up. Keep your spirit. Guaranteed success. It's Billy Blaise and the crew. Signing out. God bless you. We'll see you later. Good job, guys. Good job.
Thanks so much for checking out this week's episode of Direct Dumpster. We really appreciate the support, guys. The best way to support us is to click on that Amazon affiliate link to watch the movie. That helps us out so much, so please do so. It's in the description box below.
And smash that like button, guys. And the easiest way to get our content delivered straight to you is by hitting the subscribe button. If you want a notification for our videos that come out every week, click that notification bell.
That's going to do it for this week. Be sure to tune in next Thursday for a new episode of Direct to Dumpster.